scene is looking real good. You're doing everything correctly with the drag and the follow through. Very good, except there's a couple drawings. Let's look at its speed here. Okay, you got the acting, very good. You also have the hat layer, and you got the layer with the character and everything on two separate layers. That's fine if you wish to do that, but what we're going to talk about here is the placement on a couple of the drawings. I think it's actually only one, right in here. And what I'm going to teach you now, I'm introducing to you, is going to be the animation charts for spacing and timing. So we're just going to follow through here. We're going to go from this drawing here, which is 26, and you're on even numbers. I will get into a little bit later that you want to try to keep them on odd numbers, but you don't have to. Some people are some animators will vary it from odd to even, but for the most part, you try to get in the habit of trying to keep it on the even, odd numbers, but sometimes you can't. So don't worry about that. We're on 26 here, and here's the situation, the placement of the hat. It went from there to there, its final position, which is, if it just snapped in there, but it's a trace back on number 28. So what we want to do is to make it a little bit more cushioned and flowing. So where I would place the hat on number 26, I'm going to do this in purple just to be clear, and we're going to be working to this, because we're on twos, we're going to work to that frame, slow in there, which is 36. So I'll write 36 down there. And what I'm first going to do is put the placement of where the hat should be. So I shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to draw it in here. You'll see it's still dragging, coming back on that arc. You understand arcs. So there we go. Right there. For the brim of the hat, we're going to do the same thing. Everything's just going to slow in from this drawing into number 36. Now, I'm going to come here and size a little bit lower and get rid of the old one. That's fine. Okay, now we're going to make the chart. It's going to go from this one and it's going to slow in to this pose. And this pose is going to be number 36. And now I'm going to show you how to do the chart. So here's 26. It's going to be slowing in to 36. This is a slow in chart right there. And now watch. I put a dash right in the middle of it, and then it's going to be now it's being held for, it's going to slow in for five frames. But in actuality, 26 is going to represent one of those drawings. We're doing it on twos. So it's going to be actually 4 in-betweens. So we put a dash right there, and then we're going to put a dash in between this one and 36 down here, right there, and then a dash between this one and this one there. And now all we got is the chart, but it's not finished yet because we want to make it perfectly clear what's going on here. So it's going to be a slow one. So we're going to go 26. Next one on 2s will be 28. I do not circle these. Next one is going to be 28, 30. Next one's going to be 32. I forgot to put in the 4th dash. And this one will be 34, right there. Now we're getting the feeling of it being, it's going to be a slow one, but to make it perfectly clear for yourself when you go back to put in the in-betweens, or for the assistant, let's say you animated this, but you really don't need to put in, you've done your job and they can just in-between it. We've got to make it clear. And these loops right here, that's letting us know that this is halfway, and then 30 is in between 28 and 36, 32 in between 30 and 36, 34 in between 32 and 36. And this is a classic slow in chart. And this is what you're going to find. You're going to find, for the most part, slow outs and slow ins. And like I told you before, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how you can change your timing up here. So this is going to be very fluid when you go in there. So then we're going to go from here into this drawing. Now, on this drawing right here, it is, the drawing is actually 28. But, you know, on that frame, in the timeline of Rough Animator. But you're just going to put in those in-betweens, and this drawing is eventually going to be just on 2s right there, which is 36. So finish off these in-betweens. Follow that chart, just make it a conventional slow in right there. And then after that, you go into, this is fine, you went into 1s to give it snap, and then you held that one for 3 frames. Now you could do that, but unless you're going to put it all on 1s, I would just put it on 2s just to keep it simple. And let's take a look at it when it does that. And hold on, let me get the. Now it's lined up. And there you go. And that's really it. Just follow the instructions I've given you here. Finish off that slow in. Just finish those off, and your scene's going to be completed. It's looking real good. Now, I do want you to know, me personally, if I was doing this scene, I would just keep it all on one level with the hat. I know it's more work because you got to draw the hat and the character, but it just keeps everything unified. And you can just look, in-betweens get so tight at times that you're basically doing trace backs. But in the feature quality stuff, for most studios, you just keep it on the same level. Even though it's a trace back, there will be a little bit of line difference, and it's what keeps it really full. Now that's really extreme what I'm talking about. I worked on a film called Cats Don't Dance, and on that one, for the style of it, they did have us break up different levels of hair with the body and stuff, because that was the style they were looking for. And that's fine. You can do it either way, but I'm just letting you know that sometimes when you get bunch of different levels or different elements of your character, be it the hat, the face, the tie, and other elements, you usually just try to keep it all on one level for the most part, but you do not have to do it. Now, limited animation, which is TV animation, The Simpsons, Homer will just be You know, his body will be on one level, and they will just hold that, and it will just be his mouth moving. But once you understand the approach of full animation, it makes going, if you get hired at, let's say, at Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network or anywhere, it just makes it much easier. You become more of a master of your art, and because you understand the full animation aspect of it. So that's it. I'm going to leave it at that. Just go ahead and finish it off with those in-betweens, working into right there. And then what you're going to do as you keep progressing, you're just going to get in the habit of numbering your drawings. And you do want to get in the habit of that, even if it means, see, back in the old days when it was on paper, when I was first animating, I would just be so into which is the most important, the animation, making the movement and acting work. I'd get so into it, I wouldn't number it. And then on paper, you know, one time I dropped my scene and it wasn't numbered, and it was a real pain in the butt getting it all organized and back into the right sequence. So I know we're doing this digitally, but do try to get in the habit of just putting in, let's say you're going from this one. This is drawing 1, which you got, that's drawing 1. And then, oh, that's the animation. There it is, 5 frames. Oh, you held it for 5. Try to keep them uneven. But it falls, that does fall on drawing. Oh no, you did that right. What am I missing? Oh, this one's held for 5. Don't worry about that, but just get in the habit of, okay, now this is drawing 6 here, and you don't need to circle them at this time. And if you go back in and you start finessing your scene, don't worry about it. Just cross that out. If it turns out it's going to be drawing 7, you just change it real quick. You just change it quick, and that way you stay more organized. That's the thing about animation. I've done painting, sculpting, played a little bit of guitar, and there's no art form quite like it, as far as it's very left and right brain oriented. You know, you got to be logical, but then you got to be emotional about it. And I've never in any of the other art forms found one that, you know, you got to use both sides of the brain. And it's fine. It will become, after a while, it just becomes intuitive and you understand it.